Freedom, freedom, freedom for my body, soul, and mind.
Harriet Tubman was born into slavery a century ago. She became an abolitionist and social activist, risking re-enslavement in the years before the Civil War to help men and women of color flee their lives of bondage by way of the Underground Railroad. 1979 McGeorge School of Law graduate Johnnie Blakeney Rawlinson grew up in the segregated South. Like Harriet Tubman, Judge Rawlinson has blazed trails of freedom, fairness, and opportunity for present and future generations to follow.
I grew up in a small town of approximately 25,000 people. The black residents of the town were treated as second-class citizens in every way. The churches were segregated, the schools were segregated, and the races just did not mix.
Her earliest years of education transformed her life.
I attribute most of my academic prowess to what I learned during the 9 years I went to that segregated school.
After attending and graduating from North Carolina A&T, Johnnie was engaged to U.S. Air Force officer Dwight Rawlinson and accepted to attend law school at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. But fate sent Dwight and Johnnie to California. Dwight for service at Mather Air Force Base, and Johnnie to McGeorge School of Law.
My mindset entering into McGeorge was to prove that I belonged there, that I would spite the fact that I did not attend an Ivy League school, that I did not have the usual pedigree for those who attended law school and excelled in law school. I was going to excel.
And she stood out. She stood out because she was one of two African Americans in our class. We were sort of beginning the wave of women coming to law school.
After graduating from McGeorge in 1979, love and marriage took Johnnie Rawlinson to the state of Nevada.
She was one of the first two, I believe, African-American women to be admitted to the Nevada bar. I think more often than not, she was the first when she was entering the room. So clearly a trailblazer.
Johnnie practiced law in the Nevada District Attorney's Office for 17 years before U.S. Senator Harry Reid recruited her for a seat on the federal bench.
He said, "This is bigger than you." And that really resonated with me, that it was time to make a bold move.
In 1997, President Clinton made her the first African-American woman ever appointed as an Article III judge in Nevada. And as a new century dawned, President Clinton, with his final judicial appointment, made Johnnie Rawlinson the first African-American woman to serve on the United States Court of Appeals for the Ninth Circuit.
Remember, I was not an Ivy League undergrad. I was not an Ivy League law school. I didn't work in a big firm. I didn't come from a prestigious family. I wasn't wealthy. None of the usual attributes that people think about when they think about federal judges. But Senator Reid was a man of humble means himself. And so he was dedicated to making sure that there was equality of opportunity across the board in the federal system. And I tried to emulate him in that way.
I think Judge Rawlinson has been the face, the outward face to people in Nevada that African American women are to be contended with. And I see her as a judge, as a person of courage to do the right thing, because maybe in her life people didn't always do the right thing, certainly in the early times.
I think I serve the public interest by being a living, breathing example of what's possible. I tell young people when I talk to them, if I can sit here, you can sit here. My life was not that different from your life. And I made it, and you can too. And that's what I hope I have done throughout my career, is to allow people to think beyond their limitations, their perceived limitations, and reach for the stars.
As she reaches for a brighter future for all, the Pacific Alumni Association is proud to present its 2024 Distinguished Public Service Award to the Honorable Johnnie Blakeney Rawlinson.